Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Welcome to Game Plan for Retirement with Chris McIntire. McIntire Retirement Services, Northwest Ohio's retirement planning resource.
And welcome into the program. This is your Game Plan for Retirement. Northwest Ohio's resource for a common sense approach to planning is the founder and CEO at McIntire Retirement Services, our resource for information and guidance here on the program, Chris McIntire. Chris, welcome back in.
Peter, it's always good to be with you. I hope you and the family are doing well there, my friend.
We are. Thank you very much. You and your family as well. You and Robin both, I know, still quarantined and staying that safe social distance there at home.
Yeah. It's funny. The social distancing gets farther and farther apart as the weeks go on.
Now, you've mentioned that you are traveling into the office every now and then, taking care of business, and then your team there on the administration side at McIntire Retirement Services, they are working in the offices as well, but you've got several different offices for convenience for all of your clients across Northwestern Ohio.
Yeah, Peter, and that's a good that you bring that up. Is we have Heidi that runs the main office there in Perrysburg. Megan is pregnant, so we're allowing her to work from home here, and she goes in, picks files up and whatnot, and then we're kind of starting the transition back into meeting with some clients that want to come in and doing the mask thing as well. So kind of working on that transition from virtual appointments like we've been doing quite a few of here, and that's actually kind of nice, because you can do like the news anchors do. They're wearing a sport coat and a pair of shorts, right?
Well, you've had the equipment. We've been doing the radio program remotely, so you've got everything that you need there to meet virtually with folks, and of course through the great technology that we have, you can do the screen shares, you can see the statements, you can present. So everything you need to get done, still easily able to accomplish.
Yeah, and it's actually been easier. We've been able to, I think even provide a better level of service in that regard, because you get more scheduling flexibility and whatnot with folks, because, if you're at home, you can kind of go back to back to back. You don't have to worry about, commuting from one office to the other and whatnot. So from a scheduling aspect, it sure makes Heidi's job a lot easier. It still is a business that a lot of the folks that we deal with are that traditional face-to-face stuff. They're not necessarily young millennials that are used to, iPhones and iPads.
Just doing everything right on the phone. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of a millennial there, Peter, that wasn't a shot at you there, buddy, but
I'm a cusp baby, right between Gen X. I actually am a Gen Xer, I think. So, the worst of both worlds.
I'm right there with you too, buddy.
A little house cleaning, back of house discussion here of what goes on at McIntire Retirement Services. Point being, ladies and gentlemen, that if you've got questions, if you've got concerns, if you'd like to look over your investment, your retirement portfolios and accounts, pick up the phone. Get that conversation started with just a phone call. Chris there, available to answer direct questions or to offer the service of that comprehensive portfolio review. And there is no benefit for procrastination. If you feel like you've got some concerns about your money, about your dollars, and we've all probably lost money in the market already if we've got retirement or investment accounts. And if we've continued the same position, we're probably going to lose money the next time the market takes a downturn as well. You can address that. You can make sure that you're comfortable with how you have positioned those dollars. Chris McIntire, your resource to make it happen. Pick up the phone, give a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194. 800-868-1194. 800-868-1194. I don't know about you, Chris, but I've had plenty of extra time around the house to sort of knock out some of those projects, binge watch a few programs on TV, basically everything there is to watch on Netflix. But I've gotten ambitious with some projects, tackled a whole lot of those things that I've been meaning to do, and kind of once a year anyway. I do like to do that spring cleaning, do the dusting, knock down the cobwebs, clean out the garage. And it sort of struck me as we were getting ready to do the program and talking about the theme for the show that a financial spring cleaning at least once a year is probably something that's pretty appropriate for everyone.
Yeah, well stated there, Peter. And what we've been doing with some current clients that have accounts that are in the non-IRA side of things is looking, do we need to sell some positions and take a capital loss if they've got some stocks that are down in value, which might help their tax position later on in the year. And we're of the opinion that we're going to have a very wide trading range here between peaks and valleys here especially as we go through the second quarter here and seeing how the rollouts work, that there will be ample opportunity for recovery. And volatility is certainly going to remain with us here for the foreseeable future. And but again, looking back at accounts, what are the opportunities that present themselves now that people can take advantage of? Roth IRA conversions, taking a couple of capital losses to help out your tax position a little bit later in the year. All you have to do is wait 31 days and you can rebuy that same exact position, eliminate a wash sale, what they call it. We won't go into all those details. Double check on, are we making health savings account contributions? Is our estate planning up to date? Given the coronavirus right now, what is that kind of impact is that going to have on getting underwritten for a life insurance policy, for a long-term care insurance policy? I mean, some of these things are very, very big right now. And, depending on what happens with this virus in the future, and we know the harm that it has caused in nursing homes, are we going to have rooms in nursing homes where two people can be in the room at the same time, or, two residents, if you will, or will they all be single rooms? And that's not going to get any cheaper.
No, that's significantly more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've been doing a lot of those types of conversations with folks that have the resources and have had these discussions before those underwriting provisions get put into place. And then also the low interest rate environment certainly has an impact on the pricing mechanisms of life insurance, long-term care insurance, as we work our way forward here. Not to mention, poor people with savings accounts, certificates of disappointment, that type of thing. What do? How do they stay up with inflation?
Yeah. A lot to think about, a lot of different items there that you covered. A couple big ones, the life insurance aspect, Chris. I know that when this pandemic first really started impacting the U.S., there was a rush to get life insurance, and there was a glut of applications that they really couldn't push through because they didn't know how to do the underwriting process. The nurses couldn't come out and do all of the vital tests and make sure you could still fog a mirror and take the blood pressure and all of those things. And I think that speaks to me in two ways. One, it's hard to do certain things after you realize how important they are, life insurance being one of them. You can't do it the day after you need it. And two, a lot of people probably realized that they were underinsured by a good measure, and that's why there was the rush to go out and get the insurance during that time. Now, this is something that you do. I mean, you're a wealth planning firm, but you also help your clients with the insurance side of things, correct?
Oh, absolutely, Peter. And, I'm kind of an insurance geek. I like, the strategies that we can utilize with life insurance. And it's not always about, when you pass away, presenting somebody with a big check. There are living benefits inside life insurance. And it is an incredibly tax efficient vehicle. Works very well for a cash flow piece. In fact, it's probably the largest piece that my wife and I do for our retirement planning is funding a life insurance policy.
Personally, and for yourselves.
Absolutely. Yes. And we've had that in place for quite some time, and it's the tax-free side of things there. And we don't have enough time on the show to go into all of the details on, some of those aspects, but life insurance does more than just give somebody money when you pass away. They've got the long-term care aspect inside newer life insurance policies. And, I'm a geek about those as well there, Peter. We do a lot of business structuring, just pulling a little bit of money out of people's investments and whatnot, structuring it for another layer of protection in case they pass away, in case they go into a nursing home, to equalize an inheritance if they've given a house to one child and then wanted to leave other assets to the other child. A good way to equalize things out. Make sure everybody has Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Chris, it's kind of hard to split a house or physical property sometimes between siblings equally and distribute it.
Yeah, I want half of the Mercedes, you know.
Doesn't work out real well. You mentioned another thing. Actually, before I get to that, I do want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got questions, if you've got concerns, if you want to talk about some of these strategies, how to have that life insurance, how to leverage those dollars, that's what it's about. It's leveraging your dollars for specific and different purposes. If you'd like to learn about the living benefits and the long-term care protection that can be added, pick up the phone, give Chris McIntire a call, 800-868 1194, 800-868-1194. Chris, you mentioned that for the coming year, you expected a wide trading range. To me, that sounds like continued volatility, that you are expecting the market to continue to be quite volatile.
Absolutely. We've got, this record amount of unemployment here, and, many of these major companies that are everyday familiar companies to us are pulling back their guidance on where they think they're going to end up at the end of the year. And they don't do that because they're confident of where things are going to be. It means that they're not really sure what's going to happen. And, as the economies here state by state start to open up, what will happen with the virus, and as we get more and more information on who does the virus impact, do we really just need to protect those with underlying health conditions and let the rest of the people go back to work, and that herd immunity? There's a lot more unknowns than knowns, Peter, is what I would say. And we've got a number of major companies that are based here in the Northwest Ohio area, a lot of automobiles. Obviously, we've got Owens Corning, Libby Owens, Libby Glass, a lot of major corporations, and they're pulling their forecasts on where they think the end of the year is going to be,
Right.
just because of all this crazy uncertainty. And many companies preserving cash by not paying, suspending dividends, and that type of thing here. So again, some at least for the next 6 to 12 months, and we have an election up and coming now that has the country pretty divided on what direction are we going to go. Are we going to continue down with the Trump administration? Will the House of Representatives stay in the Democrat hands? Will it come into the Republican hands? And that delicate balance of power that we're pretty well understand now. But I would think that the monetary and fiscal policies of the parties are vastly different right now.
Right. And all of these things affects you and and all of the listeners or viewers' money. Our investments are going to be impacted by these things. And this is the season where a lot of these companies are announcing their earnings, their profits, and then doing those forecasts. Many of them have suspended that part of it, the forecast part. Chris, this is a pretty strong indication of uncertainty. They don't know what this next year is going to hold or what their projections are going to be. So they're not going to try to announce what those are and then either be disappointed or beat those expectations. So again, just uncertainty in the market. The market doesn't tend to like uncertainty. And so we could continue to see some volatility. This is one of the reasons why another of these spring cleaning, financial house cleaning items is regular monitoring and rebalancing. It's important to rebalance your portfolio on an ongoing basis, something that you do for your clients.
Yeah, Peter, we're working through a lot of that right now. We just, our schedule is very full with, servicing the existing client base, touching base with everybody on, once we come out on the other side of this, where's the risk tolerance here? And it's funny because you and I, we've had conversations for years on, having a safe money strategy for situations exactly like this. Our objectives and our talking points here on the radio show has not changed one instance. When the market was a bullish market, where we were saying, all right, you got to have all your money in the market, we were always talking about, look, it's not always going to be like this. That's why you have a safe money strategy, so you can rely on it. And, I've had more clients say, I should have put more money in that safe strategy. That's probably been the common theme right here. Now, 6 months from now, if the economy's rocking and rolling, that conversation would probably go the other direction, of course.
But it's not a permanent decision either, Chris. I know that a lot of times as profits are realized, you can take some of those profits off the table. You can protect them, and then if there is an opportunity, and obviously this was a very impactful, catastrophic type of event. The market's lost almost a third of its value. But the way that you and I talk about this, if there is an opportunity to buy in low, you can take some of the money from those safe money strategies and invest it at those opportune moments.
Yeah. We talked a lot about that there in 2019 throughout the entire year. We've had good quarters, and we talked about harvesting some of those gains. We did a lot of that for our clients. And, the Federal Reserve is playing a major role in this economic recovery and, injecting liquidity into the marketplace, if you will. There in the panic of mid-March there, we had what we would call a liquidity problem. There were more sell orders than there were buyers. People wanted dollars. So the Federal Reserve came in and backstopped a lot of trades and a lot of the bonds. And then immediately the market there in April had a very significant bounce. And, as we're working our way through the month of May here, we're starting to see some of that rally slow down at least.
Yeah.
We don't like to make predictions here on the show by any stretch, but when the Federal Reserve comes in and backstops trillions of dollars, that floods the market with liquidity, so people are not so aptly to sell, so they rebought those old positions and whatnot, and the markets thankfully came back up anyhow. But with 30 million people without jobs right now, it's just unbelievable. Historical history is playing out in front of us right now. And so obviously we would be telling our folks, let's take a more cautious approach here until we come out on the other side of this. They're not playing baseball. They're not playing basketball. They're running some NASCAR races without people in the stands, that type of thing. Man, that's an adjustment. This is a different kind of life than we all lived 6 months ago, for example. And, we all want to get back to, high five and that type of thing. And Peter, I'm the first one to tell you,
you don't do that much.
Shaking hands. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm the one that's got the hand sanitizer. So for those of you that are going to give us a call, you want to come in, sit down and have a visit, you'll not find a bigger germaphobe than I am pre-COVID anyway, Peter.
Yeah. Well, again, another pre-COVID theme that you have talked about often is that need for rebalancing. And good markets, bad markets, that does not change. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ignore accounts, if you buy and hold and forget and just let them go and don't take advantage of the movements of the market to periodically rebalance your accounts, that is going to impact your results. That is going to make a difference in several percentage points over the course of a year and in dollars over the course of the lifetime of the investment of your performance and your end results. So rebalancing on an ongoing basis. And if you don't have the know-how or the desire to do that yourself, that's just one of the reasons why you hire a financial professional. And Chris McIntire, their McIntire Retirement Services, certainly able, capable, and willing to do that, or talk to you about why that is a valuable component of a comprehensive plan. Pick up the phone, give them a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194. As you talked about the role, Chris, that the Fed has had in this, in creating all of this liquidity. The way that I think about that is debt and taxes. And you mentioned taxes at the beginning of the program, but the market and the volatility really has received a lot of the attention during this pandemic and during this crisis. But I believe that perhaps the real opportunity to better control and determine our outcome might come in the tax planning side of things. There are some great opportunities to better control our taxes right now.
Oh, absolutely, Peter. And, is they're spending trillions to backstop this economy right now. At some point, that's going to have to be paid for. There's another, it seems like they inject a couple of $1 trillion, and all of a sudden now the politicians are like, well, now we need to bail out the states. Now we need to bail out the universities. Now we need to bail out the cities. all that's going to come at a steep price. You just can't keep printing it. All of a sudden, investors will lose confidence in the fact that a $20 bill isn't worth anything. That's where you get the inflation.
Yeah.
Too many dollars chasing too few goods. And obviously they'll have to raise taxes at some point to pay for that. And, as an American citizen, I would want them to come up with some sort of revenue stream. How are they going to pay for this? Or how are we going to make China pay for letting this virus run out of control? And I'll bite my tongue from here now.
Well, during crisis, Chris, we can choose to panic or we can choose to plan. I know that your job, you choose to plan, you are proactive, and that you can actually run some analysis and perform a level of that analysis for clients that gives them a real macro look at the taxes and calculate out the potential total taxes over their lifetime. And some of these analysis has shown and pinpointed strategies that could literally make a difference in minimizing taxes, potentially saving a client hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of their lifetime in their tax bill alone.
Absolutely, Peter. And, we've been talking about tax rates being historically low now. We know they're going to have to come up. You just can't keep printing dollars and not pay for that. So it'll be gas taxes. With gas prices down low, that's an easy tax to increase. It's funny, I just bought a tank of gas for the first time since mid-March, and spent $25 to fill a tank of gas. So
that gas was getting stale in your tank.
Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, yeah, first tank in 2 months. But I would certainly see, we might see some additional taxation on other things, and it is coming here. We got the airline industry down 95%. They're going to need a lifeline to make it through the other side of this, and so you might see some ticket taxes or something like that as we repay those loans and whatnot. So we're going to pay for it at one point or another. And, this is the opportune time for those Roth IRA conversions, no question about it. So give you an example. I bought, let's say you bought ConocoPhillips stock and it's down 60% in value as the price of oil fell. And you own that stock in your IRA, move it to your Roth IRA and then let it recover in the Roth. And
right.
That's a great Roth conversion concept here, guys. We obviously want you to make sure you're doing your own analysis and get some correct professional information before you act on any of these things.
Yeah, very, very important there to understand the full implications and consequences of making these decisions. Obviously, Chris, I'd rather not take a loss in my investment or my retirement accounts. If, let's say, theoretically, there's $100,000 there, I'd rather have the $100,000. But I'd rather pay tax on the $65,000 or the $70,000. And right now is the time to do that. And then when we do have a recover in tax-free dollars.
Absolutely. We're having those conversations almost on a daily basis as we're reviewing things with clients to say, hey, look, let's talk to the CPA. Let's see where your tax piece is going to be right now. Are you temporarily laid off or something like that, where your income is going to be lower this year than it was last year? And again, to be able to see opportunities, you first have to have your eyes open. And this is one of those where 2020 is going to give you that opportunity to be able to do that. 2008, like you and I have talked repeatedly on the radio show in the past, was the ideal opportunity for Roth IRA conversions. And we're in one of those environments right now as well.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, you need help, you need assistance, professional perspective, pick up the phone, give McIntire Retirement Services a call. Again, no obligation to run the analysis, no cost for doing so, but in doing so, you may be able to identify strategies that could literally save you or make a swing of several hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement and over the course of your lifetime. So let's make sure that we're being efficient, that we are leveraging our dollars. These are all just the financial spring cleaning checklist list of items that Chris McIntire can help you with in that review and that strategy session. If you have questions about any one of them in particular, or you'd like to run through all of them, pick up the phone and give a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194. 800-868-1194. A couple other items of note in the tax realm is that, Chris, RMDs are waived for this year, but that, again, may be a great opportunity. may want to just keep the money in the accounts. Don't necessarily need it, don't have to take it, but it may be a great opportunity to do some proactive planning.
Absolutely. It controls your taxable income without having to take that required minimum distribution. You can still do that, and you can still pay it to a charity and whatnot if you'd like to, because some of the charities are still struggling. But understanding what the options you have there, because you're not allowed to take a required minimum distribution and convert that amount into a Roth IRA. You would have to take out money over and above that. So feel free to give us a call, talk to myself or Megan about that. We can get you some correct information that you need, so you can make good, solid decisions here, despite this crazy pandemic and all the bad news that's out there that we're all watching basically all day, every day. You got to watch and not let too much of that stuff get into your head there. It's very easy to get sidetracked and only focus on the negative side of things. And we are Americans. We will work our way through this. We're the brightest people in the world working on this at a feverish pace, obviously. And do not let your other health issues, take a back burner as well. There are cancer treatments that have been put on hold. There are, screenings and things like that, the preventative things that we all need to make sure that we're doing. And please do not be afraid to go to the doctor because of this pandemic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's a little bit of a reality. We've got to weigh the benefits and the disadvantages. And I know several that have put kind of some of that routine treatment, preventative maintenance on hold, visiting the dentist, a big one, because dentists were closed for a good period of time. But even just regular annual physicals, we need to understand the importance of those things. You're absolutely right. A good tip of the hat to remind folks of the importance of those there, Chris. Actually, that next item on the financial spring cleaning list, very similar, reviewing performance. At least once a year, Chris, we should be reviewing the performance and the health of our investment portfolio as well. And I think at this time, a lot of folks would have liked to have heard from their source of financial guidance, from the professional that they have trusted. And unfortunately, a lot of people have not received that phone call, have not heard anything from their broker or advisor in the angle of reviewing the performance of their portfolio with them. And that can be unsettling.
It certainly can. And, communication is the key to, any sort of healthy relationship that you have. And, some of you do online services and, some of the big brokerage firms that are online, and, it's not their job to call you up to see how you're doing. That's where, our world's a little different. It's, more person to person type of thing, that for people that, don't want to rely on just, someone wearing a headset that you never ever get to take a look at whatsoever.
Or the robo advisor, not a person at all. This, blanket
Right.
algorithm that's going to cover everybody.
Yeah. Like we say, if your advisor's name is Algo Rhythm, you might want to look and do something different as well too.
Yep. Well, Chris, reviewing performance, how are you positioned? How did your funds perform? How much have they gained or lost? This is all important information for you to weigh and evaluate how you're doing, how much risk you're taking, how much you're paying for the advice that you're receiving, the guidance. At least once a year, probably more often than that, it is appropriate. But again, Chris, with the way that the majority of Americans are saving the majority of their dollars in these out of sight, out of mind, employer-sponsored retirement accounts, they're not getting that performance review. They're not rebalancing. They're not consolidating on a regular basis. They're missing a big piece of the picture to make financial progress.
Yeah, what happens a lot, Peter, in times like these is people will stop contributing into their 401ks because
Wrong
they're
thing to do.
nervous. Absolutely. And, that's the dollar cost averaging and, buying more when it's down low than when it is up high. And, it's a little different once you're retired, obviously. You don't want to get too far out on the skinny branches. But I have conversations here every week with folks that are still working, and they say, well, should I be contributing right now given, the state of the markets? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's the contrarian view, if you will. Most people do the wrong things at the wrong time, and they buy high and sell low typically. And you and I have made this point a few times, when my most risky investors want to get conservative is the same times my most conservative investors want to get risky. And, it's just the contrarian side of things. And it's a funny how some of those laws of physics or whatever you want to say work, or economics.
Yep. But I mean, Chris, the plan is the roadmap. If we've got a plan, then we can use that plan to help guide those kind of decisions. And a lot of people have the tools in the toolbox. They may have the 401k or some stocks or bonds or mutual funds or life insurance or annuities or whatever the case is for the tools that that individual wants to use. But a lot of times we have not brought those tools together and really created the blueprint or the plan that's going to help us make those kind of decisions in an informed way. And so that we don't overreact or act emotionally. So seeing the positive in a negative set of circumstances here. I think that throughout this pandemic, more and more people have realized that the help, the assistance, the guidance of a qualified financial professional probably is something that they need, they deserve, and would benefit them.
Yeah, emotions are, play a toll on all of us in affecting our decision-making process. And, having a plan, yeah, it takes some discipline sometimes to stick to that plan. I mean, these are some uncertain times here, obviously. And, the probably the difference here is what we have from the Federal Reserve. We all know that the government created the financial crisis because of the health crisis. So this is different than 2008. It's different than the Great Depression in the past as well. This was something that we all had to do to control the virus so we didn't overwhelm the health system. And now that we know that we haven't done that, is trying to get it restarted again. And, unfortunately, there's a lot of uncertainty in the future here, when the entire airline industry is off 95% from where they were a year ago. How many of them are going to make it on the other side of this? And that's the cruise industry, some of the travel, the hotels and whatnot. So, it's not like it was 6 months ago, and it's not like it is going to be 6 months from now like it was a year ago. It's still, this is a long, hard struggle that we're all going to have to adjust to what the new normal is. And again, wide trading volumes here, as the unemployment rate is very high right now. And is it going to recover quicker than what we expected? That would be good. Are we going to get some breakthrough medications? That's going to certainly help things out. And those are the uncertain pieces here. That's why you have a plan. And we've got a lot of folks that pulled to the sidelines, and now and some of them, it was our decisions as well in coming up with a plan and a process, and to act on it diligently to work your way back into it over the course of time here. So, it's not, I'm going to get out one day, I'm going to get in the next day, in day trading and whatnot. Remember the term day trader? That was back in the late 1990s, and then the tech bubble killed that. And, all of a sudden now, in the last 45 days, everybody's a day trader. Well, I bought in and I'm up 35% now. They'll get wiped out like they did in the past.
Yeah. Well, Chris, despite the volatility, despite some of the statistics and a little bit of the grim headlines, you have maintained a pretty positive outlook for your clients' financial progress. And I think that is a testament to the job that you do, and of course a benefit to the savers and investors across Northwestern Ohio that have counted and relied on your guidance in helping them continue their forward financial progress, regardless of what conditions may arise and what conditions we may see into the future.
Yeah. And, Peter, sometimes the hardest part is turning off all the noise out there, because you get, most of our clients are very emotionally involved in investments. And should I get out today? Should I get out, or should we buy in? All those types of things. And it takes some discipline and whatnot. And, we got some gray hairs on our heads. So we've been through some of these things in the past as well. And that certainly has helped us run more of a balanced approach to here. But again, having a safe money strategy where you can rely on plan B if plan A isn't working out. And, that just serves everybody's best interest very well. And, some people timed it out perfectly, and we removed some assets last year when the market was at the high, and they missed a pretty good, drop off there as, if they were heavily invested in equities and they decided to get some money out, timing there was perfect. And for some folks, all right, you need to let it bounce back a little bit before you adjust some of your strategies and whatnot. And that's why you have a plan. So you don't have to get crazy and lay there in bed at night thinking, oh my God, what did we do? It's like, if you're going to lay there in bed at night, you at least say, well, hey, that's why we had a plan here. Doesn't mean there isn't pain. Everybody with an investment in the month of March, it was tough, no question about it. But those of you that had investments and then had a safe money strategy to rely on, you went to bed, you probably got a couple more hours of sleep than the rest of the world.
Yep. Well, Chris McIntire does offer the opportunity for a complimentary review. If you've got a few specific questions that have been on your mind, if you'd like to run through any of these individual items on our list of financial spring cleaning to-do items, or if you'd like to run through all of them in that comprehensive review and strategy session, pick up the phone, give a call. 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194. There is no benefit to procrastinating. There is no downside to placing that call. There is no need to meet in person to start the conversation and get on the path toward making more financial progress, getting a better handle on your money, and improving your financial future. Chris McIntire, the team from McIntire Retirement Services, they are your resource, ladies and gentlemen. Start with that phone call. 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194. 800-868-1194. Chris, we always appreciate the time that you spend with us, the guidance, the perspective that you provide to savers and investors, those taking their planning and their financial future seriously across Northwestern Ohio.
Pleasure to be with everybody out there. Please stay safe. And, thankfully we live here in a great country, and may God bless America and bless all of you folks as well. Thank you for listening today.
He is Chris McIntire. He's looking forward to hearing from you. If there's anything he can do to help, give him a call, 800-868-1194. And we'll talk to you next time on Your Game Plan for Retirement.
Visit McIntireRetirementServices.com for many additional valuable resources, including other great episodes of Game Plan for Retirement with Chris McIntire. Be sure to subscribe.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor. Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.
Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Indexed or fixed annuities are not designed for short-term investments and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract.